Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Friday the 18th of November 2022. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to use the Heindel Tarot for today's reading, which is going to be controversial because last time I used this deck, someone in the comments was like, Greg, please don't ever use this deck again. It's scary and frightening. So I'll show you what they meant. I don't think it is. I think it's a bit gloomy, but I think it's super atmospheric and super interesting. So that's why I want to use it, because I love stuff like this. And sometimes I like scary. It expresses, like certain feelings which are just seem intolerable, sometimes require a horror story for you to get your point across. If you just say, I feel repulsed by this, it doesn't really do the feeling much justice. I think that's genius. Who's this? The Venus von Willendorf, exactly. Fertility symbol. Okay, so let's see what the cards have to say. And what energies are coming up today on Friday. All right, so the first card is the Emperor in the buff. Okay. Next, we've got Kali. I was just thinking about Kali when I was showing you the images, because the whole deck reminds me of this Kali energy, which is, again, super interesting. I was watching a talk on Kali the other day, actually, by Sadhguru. And he was talking about this being a particularly interesting energy to tap into, destruction and renewal and transformation and stuff. I suppose in astrology, I would associate Scorpio with Kali, but Kali is a much darker energy than Scorpio is. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. We've got the Emperor, then we've got the Mother of Staves in the East. So it's the Queen of Wands. And then we have the Five of Cups, and in this deck it's called Disappointment, Enttäuschung. Okay, so the Emperor, you can see here, he's a guy in the prime of life. He's holding orb and scepter. He's something special. He's got a little diamond on his head. So he's really genuinely, he's not just saying he's special. He's genuinely inspired by his higher self. He's got some sort of mission that he's on. He's got the symbol for Aries here that helps him to put whatever he wants into practice. He's a leader, he's authoritative, he's courageous. Any kind of inner fears he's able to work with and overcome. He's resilient. He's interested in protecting others, I suppose. But I would say, as far as the Emperor is concerned, what is his main interest? Is it getting what he wants and power first and then helping others? I would say it's getting himself to a position of authority first. So if there's anything in your life where you do want to kind of step it up, or you do want to have more authority or freedom or more choice, the Emperor actually allows you, to take action on this day, which secures that. So if you're going into a meeting that's scheduled for the day, and there is going to be a discussion around your pay and your job role, the Emperor today ensures that you assert yourself, that you stand up for what you need, and that you don't comply too much. So this is great in any kind of situation where you can fold under pressure. The Emperor is going to ensure that you don't fold under the pressure, and that you fight your corner if that's required. The Mother of Wands, the Queen of Wands, I love this. I need to read up more about Kali. I've always been not fascinated. I was always, there's certain energies and characters that speak to us more than others, just like certain people and friends more than others. I've always felt very, very connected to Shiva. But this is interesting me a lot. So the first thing, just from my knowledge, without me researching it, the black in the tarot represents absorption of negativity, or the anticipation of it. She's completely in that color. So she's had a lot to deal with, and she's turned it into power for herself. So this is saying that the circumstances don't matter, whether you're in a very serious court case or whether it's your father-in-law making a dumb joke and you're going to call him out on that today. This allows you to stand within negativity and to be empowered by it rather than to have it affect you negatively. So the emperor is able to assert himself and to deal with negativity. Kali is empowered by negativity. So if someone comes at you in a negative way or a situation doesn't serve you, it actually, on this day, it generates this inner desire and a fire to deal with the situation and to change it so that it suits your needs. It's almost like a personal challenge on this day. Super interesting. Then we've got all the red. Red is passion, life, purpose. She is the Queen of Wands. You know, in my deck, the Queen of Wands is like this charming woman who's opening her own, who's at an art gallery opening. It's very different to this. My Queen of Wands has worked hard. She's been creative. She loves her life. She's overcome any fears and she's gone public and she wants to make the world more beautiful and she wants to live her life purpose, basically. This is saying that the passion or the thing that you can really sink your teeth into today is anything in your life that seems to be outrageously negative. Like any, you know, like things that you usually tolerate as, okay, well, that's just the cost of doing business, or, you know, it's extended family, I have to compromise. I think the potential for outrage is really there in you. And then together with the emperor, if someone offends you on this day, I feel they'll never hear the end of it. Because you're going to take that to the bank and run with it and really just rev yourself up. So it's that thing about I am galvanized into action through negativity as such. That's really an interesting point, and I don't want to get too abstract with this, but sometimes if I'm looking for ideas, I can flick through magazines and read and stuff, and I'll pick things up from different visual sources and reading mainly, that's for me. But then there have been other times in my life where I've really been repelled by something. I remember I read, when I was in Australia, I read American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Bad idea. I mean, the book came in plastic in the book shop. I mean, I should have. And the title, I mean, I'm not a genius sometimes, but really the book was just despicable. And it was that revulsion that actually made the book quite valuable to me because it showed me what I value in art or what I want to read or what, you know what I mean? It's by seeing what I didn't like that it kind of confirmed to me, it's like, well, I don't know, I'm not explaining it very well. It's not like I had, you know, American Psycho is about this murderer, right? So it wasn't like, oh, maybe it's not a good idea to be a murderer. I mean, I knew that. But it was like, if you are going to write, then you don't want to maybe discuss the most horrible aspects of the shadow self. Or if you want to do something creatively in future, then maybe these are the topics you want to look at. It was just like a mirror of what I don't want, and that's basically what I'm getting for this day, that you can really become very clear on what doesn't work for you, what you see as super negative and toxic, and it may just cause you to rush off on your own path of doing something that you wouldn't have considered if you hadn't been shown this horrible abomination that you're now being faced with. Example of that. Let's say you're going to some sort of shelter, right? You want to get a dog or something. So you go to a shelter, reviews on Google are good, you show up and you see that the conditions aren't great and you're really not impressed and you love dogs and you're like, oh my God. That experience to a particular type of person may then prompt them to start their own dog shelter, which is amazing for the dogs. So that negative thing then with your approach on this day transform something horrifying into something glorious. So I really like that. Because if you find something in the dark, usually it has healing properties. And here you are finding something in the dark. So you're able to then bring the light by using your strength and power. So ultimately you are Kali because you're the ultimate transformative force. Finally, the Five of Cups. Five of Cups is about perspective. Usually it's someone grieving, looking at 3 cups that have spilled and ignoring the 2 cups that are still upright. And it's about changing your perspective and realizing that you still have things to be grateful for. The thing here is, I feel with these two being so epic, Major Arcana card, and I mean, Kali is pretty memorable. I feel you're able to transform a chronic disappointment in yourself if you're carrying that. I don't know about you, but I've had certain things in life where I've been disappointed either at the outcome of a relationship or the way I was treated or the way I am in myself. And some of those things have been super painful, but you may relate to this or not. It may just be a weird quirk that I have. But sometimes, like, I've not a sick pleasure in carrying my own pain, but sometimes I've carried my own pain for longer than it was necessary because I felt a certain type of ownership over it. You know, it was like, this really hurt me at age 12, so I'm not just going to forget about this and move on. This is something really significant. I've learned that it's best to accept those things, not to forget them, but not to dwell on them either, and to drop the pain. And that's what I think this allows you to do. It's to kind of look at your history and to say, well, this doesn't define me, nor do I need to let this influence me for the rest of my life. Kali's going to take all that nonsense. Like, think of a banquet table when all the, like, Vikings have eaten and quaffed their beer or whatever. It looks like a mess. Kali comes along, wipes the whole thing clear, and it's that neutrality and sense of freedom from your own past, and that you can transform your experiences and really look to make new ones. I'm really glad I used these cards. I think they're amazing, and I think the message for today is amazing. Number-wise, we've got 4, and a court card, which is 1, that's 5. 5 and 5, first of all, is major freedom from self. 5 in itself is freedom. 55 elevates that to the next level. So it's spiritual freedom, it's soul freedom, and ultimately it's freedom from self. Wow. 5 and 5 is 10. 10 reduces to 1 in numerology, and 1 is the boss, like the emperor. It's the magician in the tarot, the person who listens to his higher self and then takes action. But with these 3 cards, it's really putting my attention on, again, the emperor, who, when he takes action, they work and they put him into a greater position of power. So ultimately, this whole process of healing and transformation empowers you massively, puts you in a much better position in life. Wow. I'm just being reminded, I think when I was like 18, 19, 20 or something, I did a invocation of Mars. Like, you can, because the tarot and astrology, they represent certain energies like this does, right? The Kali energy. It's not that you're talking to the actual planet or the Roman, you know, or Greek mythological deity. You're just giving a form and an image to a particular type of energy, and that's something that you can do anytime. Like, if you want to tap into the energy of Venus or Isis or Odin or whatever it is, those are just wonderful ways of encapsulating a type of energy, and by putting it in the forefront of your mind through some symbol, I think really works well. So if that works for you, try that on this day, especially with Kali here, if you want to transform something that you dislike strongly into something that strengthens you. Have a great day. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to order your reading with me. And in my personal readings, I use the tarot, astrology, and numerology. If you have any questions about what needs transforming, what you want to come next, what can come next, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share it online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.